Good afternoon to Chriselda. Take us through what happened in court today.
Well, Nzinga, we've just concluded proceedings here at the Bloemfontein Magistrate's Court, and the case against Thabo Bester has been postponed to the 16th of May. You'd see the gentlemen standing here next to me are his lawyers, and I'll speak to them in just a moment. You know that there are some concerns that had been raised by Thabo Bester. Thabo Bester has also raised those concerns. In fact, he wanted to address the court on matters regarding that. Let me bring those lawyers in at the moment. Let me bring in Mr. Marvin Kapire, who's with the Ishmael attorneys, as well as Advocate Pela, who's also representing. Let's start with you, Marvin Kapire. Serious concerns raised by your client. You say he's not eaten for 24 hours.
That's my instruction.
That's your instruction. He's not eaten for 20. He's too scared to eat the food.
That's indeed the instruction. I mean, I even told the court, I do not want to say for obvious reasons, but we do understand why he would be concerned with eating the food.
Why?
It's food provided by the very same institution, which, look, this trial is going to be a very lengthy trial. But can I just reserve my comments? I had agreed with this gentleman to meet
the state,
office.
Yeah, the state also made an argument to say, but this is the food that he's been eating while in the custody of correctional services under, of course, G4S prior to the escape. What would those concerns be now, and with the presiding officer saying?
The circumstances have changed. Since his time in custody, he's now an escapee. There are many questions still to be asked, but I did say, can I just reserve? Are
you perhaps suggesting that he?
No,
you're not suggesting.
Said,
does he fear for his life?
Can I just reserve my comments? I think Advocate Pela, like we discussed earlier, he will conduct the interview with you guys. I also need to go down and consult Mr. Bester before he's ferried away. Before you leave, does he fear for his life? Last comment from you. We said there are safety concerns. Yes. Safety concerns. Let me bring in Advocate Pela, as Marvin Kapire needs to consult with his client at the moment. I'll bring in Advocate Pela. Advocate Pela, you're working with the legal team of Mr. Thabo Bester, is that correct?
Not necessarily, Chriselda. We work on a daily basis with Mr. Kapire, but on this case, Mr. Kapire is the one that consulted with the client, is the one that took the instructions. So the questions that I'm going to respond to is the questions relating to the issues of law that were raised in the courtroom. But regarding the interview with Mr. Bester, Mr. Kapire is the one that did the interview. He even went down now to the court cells. So the questions that I may respond to are the ones relating to the arguments that were presented before court as the legal expert.
Would you be making an application to remove him from Mangaung prison? Why not that application and bringing an application about food instead?
Mr. Kapire reserved that comment, so I wouldn't like to go to that territory that he already requested not to respond to. But as for the proceedings, the media and the people of South Africa have heard that the matter has been postponed to the 16th of May 2023 for further investigations. And Mr. Kapire was earlier saying, can the case date be brought closer so that the matter can be finalized speedily? As you know, that it is the right of every accused person to have a speedily and fair trial. But the court, together with the state, did indicate that it's not going to be an easy matter. The investigation is still going to be done, and there is also a letter from a director of public prosecution indicating that this matter is going to be heard at the High Court.
Let's talk about the
correctional services on these concerns.
How do you?
Have you addressed or have you raised these issues with the correctional services?
No. Mr. Kapire is going to take care of that. Like I said, I'm only going to outline the legal issues that were indicated in the court. But the personal circumstances relating to Mr. Bester, Mr. Kapire is dealing with that. And like he indicated to you earlier, he's not prepared to give any comment until such time that he takes further instructions, as he went down the court cells now to take further instructions. So the circumstances regarding Mr. Bester, I won't comment, but I can comment about the processes that took place inside the court.
What is the rationale behind seeking the documents relating to extradition?
Any accused person is entitled to get information that is going to be used against him when we go to trial. That's why when we talk about the discovery of the court file, which is the docket, before you proceed with the trial, you must be finished with each and every information that is relevant and that is going to be used against the accused. Hence,
we're not at pre-trial stage.
yes, we are not at the trial stage. However, that is what Mr. Kapidi was trying to address with the court. And that matter has now been dismissed, so I don't think it's the main issue now, because the court didn't entertain it, saying it doesn't have a local standard to entertain such.
So what steps will you take next?
Documents that you want. Do you not trust that the police will give you all the documents that you want as required by the law?
No, every accused employee is entitled to the documents. I think Mr. Kapidi is outlining everything with Mr. Thabo Bester as they are now.
Why are you asking for those documents now when you can get them at a later stage?
No, Mr. Kapidi was asking for them now as the instruction of the client. However, if those documents are going to be used during the trial, they will be discovered once the investigation is complete. Mr. Kapidi was only conveying the request of the client. And like you said, the court didn't entertain that because this matter is going to go to High Court. The investigations will have to be completed. Once completed, the legal team will be finished with the particulars.
What's your plan to...
logic behind having you or wanting Thabo Bester to appear here sooner than a month's time? We've heard from the state that this investigation is going to take longer than a month. Why do you want to come here sooner than that?
Like I said earlier, Mr. Kapidi brought that as the request of Mr. Bester. And as Mr. Kapidi have indicated in the court, it was around the safety measures, including food, and then that at the end of the day, when you media were interviewing him, he said he's reserving the comment. So for now, I will say that matter is neither here nor there, because the court made a ruling that they cannot give institution and instruction.
So what's your next step? Do you plan to raise this with correctional services, because this court has basically not has failed to entertain it?
The matter has been remanded until 16 May for further investigations. I think it will only be fair to hear on the 16th of May what has been covered, what is still outstanding, and the way forward. Remember, the state will also bring the application on the 16th of May regarding their next step. And I don't want to comment on behalf of the state. I'm not from the state institution.
So would you say that you have placed the cart before the horse, given that you yourself admit that all the documents will be gotten at pre-trial stage?
I wouldn't say Mr. Kapidi did that. Mr. Kapidi, remember, every lawyer is working on the instructions of the client. And if you don't convey the instructions of the client, who are you representing? Because you must take the instructions of the client and place them before the magistrate. That's why at some point, Mr. Kapidi wanted to allow the accused Mr. Thabo Bester to engage the court himself directly, of which the magistrate ruled out and declined.